coast to coast, it's your hosts, the Lombardi Leap and Mersey FB. This is Beyond the Frozen Tundra.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Lombardi Leap, here with Mersey FB. And let's talk about the last Packers game of the season. This is one of those losses where if I read you Jordan Love's stat line, you'd have been like, yeah, we totally won that game, right? Right? We won that game?
We should have. He came real close.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. And this is probably one of the top 3 hardest losses that I've had to watch.
Well, yeah, looking back on it, like the Tampa game wasn't fun.
No, it was not.
The worst one that I remember was the Falcons playoff game. Like, that was the most painful one.
That was
ugly. At least to me. So,
like, yeah, that was ugly just because, but you kind of knew because of the cornerback room at the time. I mean, just
again, I was 10 and I didn't really understand football. Or like maybe 11. I hadn't quite figured out superstar players yet on all sides of the ball.
Julio dominated that game, and rightfully so.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Tampa Tom, that was probably the worst because I felt like we would have won the Super Bowl had David Bakhtiari still been the left tackle. Like, I really do.
The San Fran one the year after was painful too.
Yeah.
Or not the year, 2 years after. Actually, both San Fran games. Those 2 years.
Every San Fran game. Every San Fran lost in the playoffs. But, yeah, this is probably second for me. It really is probably the second worst loss that I've had to witness.
Part of what makes it so bad is it was to a division rival.
Against the Bears. Yeah, that's why. That is legitimately why. Is because of who it was against. And what made it worse, too, was how the loss happened. Like, there was a lot of penalties that happened at inopportune times, like the one right in the beginning, too. It ended up falling apart real fast in the fourth quarter. I think that there is a lot of numbers here that you can look at that really explain the loss. I mean, I'd say the Packers were efficient, especially in the first half, you know?
Yeah, in the first half, I was like, we're winning this game, and I don't feel too scared about Seattle next week. That's how I felt.
Not at all. I mean, they could not be stopped in the red zone in the first half. I mean, Jordan Love played an amazing game. No turnovers. I think he ended with like a 103.7 passer rating. His only 2 incompletions in the first half were design throwaways.
Yeah, that was impressive from Jordan.
And anybody who says Jordan Love isn't a top 5 quarterback, I think he's a top 5 quarterback. Like, I really do, you know? I'd say he's maybe even top 3 after the way I saw Justin Herbert play. Drake May, I didn't think had the greatest game. Definitely better than Trevor Lawrence, 100%. I don't think there's any questions there.
I don't know if you can put the Jags loss strictly on Trevor, but...
No. But in terms of quarterback play, like Jordan Love easily, I think, has solidified himself as a top 5 quarterback in the league right now.
Anytime you throw for 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions and over 300 yards, like, you should win that game 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, and like the Packers were efficient, and even though the Bears controlled the ball for 7+ minutes at the time, I mean, Bears really didn't get penalties, which I was kind of shocked at. And people are going to blame the refs. I expect the refs to be bad. I do. Overall, though, I don't think it was the penalties that lost us the game. It was, well, I'm gonna say something here that I think a lot of people are going to neglect. We'll get into it here. I don't think special teams lost us the game, even though the special teams left 7 points on the board. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a point of contention for me. Special teams as a unit didn't. Like, it wasn't like the unit made a catastrophic mistake. Yes, they allowed some big returns, and there was a low snap on the missed kick, but ultimately, like, that falls on Brandon McManus to just make the kick.
It does.
So, as a unit, special teams did not lose. However, McManus, as an individual, did not execute well and perform.
Yeah. And I don't want to, like, solely... I guess my thing is, too, is when people are like, oh, special teams left 7 points on the board. Obviously, it's a tale of 2 offenses here in the first half versus the second half. And when people say that special teams left 7 points on the board, that is true. That is statistically true. 2 field goals and missing an extra point. I get that, 100%. If we're going to talk about special teams and the 7 points they left on the field, then I think that you have to talk about the 12 to 28 points that Matt LaFleur left on the field by going 0 for 4 on your first 4 drives in the second half. It is of my belief, and I will say this again, as I said to other people, you cannot not score in a quarter in the playoffs. You just I firmly believe you can't do that. The only way that happens, here's the only way that should happen, is if you take up the entire
On
quarter
one drive.
driving the
Yeah.
ball. Yes.
Yeah. Of which they didn't.
They did not. They went 3 and out, I think just about every single time,
Yeah,
right?
they about every single time, yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that. You just can't do that. You can't do that for the sake of our defense. You can't do that for the sake of our special teams. And ultimately, like, that falls on Matt LaFleur as a coach.
And part of the issue though is the offensive line started getting picked apart in the second quarter or the second half.
Certain parts of it, yeah. Mhm. And
Yeah, we'll say the offensive line, but it was like Jordan Morgan played very well.
Jordan Morgan played very well. Banks had to help Rasheed Walker because they were just absolutely picking on Rasheed Walker.
Lowest graded offensive lineman who played meaningful snaps.
He absolutely abysmal play from him. And he's gotten progressively worse over the year, unfortunately. And Matt LaFleur, again, like, obviously there's a lot of talk right now about Matt LaFleur. Should I stay or should I go? Kind of a thing. And I don't know where I'm at personally with it. Like, I think there's a lot of valid reasons for him to go. I think there's a lot of valid reasons for him to stay. I think you and I both agree that coaching is an issue and assistants are an issue, especially.
We'll definitely take a deeper look into this in a future episode. Hopefully before like LaFleur a decision is made.
Well, as we're recording this on a Monday, and I heard that there's supposed to be a decision on a Wednesday, so this will be the day it gets released.
Mhm.
I guess we'll see what happens if we have to do an emergency episode.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
As far as game planners go, Matt LaFleur is one of the best as a head coach. You don't want to take away play calling from him, because if you do that, then you take away what he does best.
Just fire him at that point.
Yeah, just fire him at that point. Game management, there's something to improve on, which I guess you could say hire better. Like Rich Bisaccia has the assistant head coach position, right? Yeah. So you gotta, like, unfortunately, I think that's a change that may happen, and then you bring in someone new to be like assistant head coach, and then have like a game management role and help Matt LaFleur in the decisions where to like use timeouts, challenge, and kind of some of the coaching decisions. I think that after the first half, we stopped building a lead and we just kind of went to survival mode.
Yeah, and he stopped running it out of center a lot more too.
Yeah.
Like, he ran it out of shotgun so much more. And running it out of center was working way more clearly. I mean, you go 3 for 3 in the first half.
Mhm.
It couldn't stop you.
And it's these decisions where I genuinely don't think like this team should run from shotgun ever. Like actually run the ball. But
careful, man. There's some people out there who swear we're really good out of shotgun.
Our fourth downs would tell you so otherwise.
Especially running the ball.
But like passing out of shotgun, sure, I'm fine with that and everything. But
then you get predictable.
Yeah, then you get predictable. But it's either like we learn how to run block out of shotgun, so our running back doesn't get hit in the backfield off of every run. Yeah, if I make any mistakes, first day back from winter break for me at university today, so mine's been a little tired for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I mean, running it out of shotgun, it hasn't really worked all year. You know it, I know it, the entire league knows it.
Due to the philosophy change in offensive linemen. We're getting heavier. We're trying to run between the tackles.
You're bigger at guard. Yeah, definitely.
And like tackle to an extent.
Yeah, to an extent. But they are like a little more finesse. And like we mentioned earlier, it doesn't help when Rasheed Walker's getting blown by on literally every single play.
Unfortunately, we learned today that Zach Tom had a partially torn patellar tendon. He tried to play through it and he couldn't, and he just couldn't. I will give him props for that, like trying to play through.
I'm kind of glad he didn't.
Yeah.
I'd hate for that to get
I
worse.
I wish we knew that ahead of time instead of just speculating.
Yeah, that injury was handled kind of weird, in my opinion.
Um,
But it just dogpiles the entire.
mhm,
I feel like that's the epitome of the entire season. Is another starter suffers a really bad
yeah,
injury.
and you can say to a point this season, or especially this game, or you can speculate 6 ways to Sunday how it would have looked had we have had Micah, Tuckercraft, Devontae Wyatt, like all of these key guys play. But ultimately, it doesn't come down to that. It comes down to the moment, and you just need the guys who are able to go execute at the high level. And in some moments, that just didn't happen.
And I think too, you need your coaches to execute at a high level as well. Like I do believe that. I'm like, because I don't just want to I don't just want to say, what if we had all these players. And like, because like you said, the reality is we had who we had, and who we had still gave us a chance to win, but for a variety of reasons, they couldn't finish. And I don't think this was an instance where necessarily it was the result of not having certain people. I mean, outside of maybe Zach Tom. Like that's probably the only what if one where I'll give you I'm willing to cut a little bit of slack on. Kind of a thing.
Yeah, not having Zach Tom created some moments where pressure got to Jordan a little quicker. It
Mhm.
allowed the weak spot of Rasheed Walker to be much more noticeable.
Oh yeah.
And of course, like there's
Horribly
moments in which like you'd like to have back in that game, like the play that Jordan slightly underthrew Luke Musgrave. Granted, it probably should have been a DPI because Tremaine Edmonds was all over
Yeah.
him, but you can't rely on the DPI. Had he have led Musgrave a little further, that's probably a touchdown.
Well, Musgrave also should have sold it a little bit better. He needs to
Probably.
work on his acting skills a
Um,
little better.
if Jaden Reed catches that ball late, they're set up in the red zone with 40 seconds left. Yeah, it looked like Christian Watson kind of misjudged that last throw or that second last throw.
Hmm.
So,
It's just those little things.
mhm.
And I know we're talking about the offense here, and a lot of people are harping on Jeff Halfley and the defense. Like, why does he get a pass for letting up just as many over 400 yards
What,
and
31, not 31 points, but it was a lot in the fourth quarter.
25
25
points?
points.
Yeah, 25 points in the fourth quarter. Like, why does that happen? I like
You couldn't get to Caleb. Like, you just couldn't.
I don't even think that was the
And
issue.
well, I mean, it helps. Creating pressure and disruption in the pocket helps. Like getting Caleb to the ground helps. But as soon as he got out, he just found whoever Keyshawn Nixon was covering and was like, "Oh, this guy's open. Let me throw it at him."
But that only happened literally in the fourth
Yeah.
quarter. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, the defense gave him a chance up until the fourth quarter. Like, I mean, we're talking what? 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble.
Right.
I mean, defensively, like, what more do you want? Caleb Williams only completed 50% of his passes. I don't know what more do you want from the defense. And, like, my biggest issue is, like I said earlier, you can't expect your defense to not give up points when you leave them on the field
Hmm.
for the entire third quarter and a big majority of the fourth quarter. I think by the time we got to the fourth quarter, they had scored 6 points. The Bears did up until the fourth quarter. Your defense is getting stop after stop, whether it's on fourth down. They were what? He was what? 2 for 6 on fourth down, right?
Yeah.
And one of them was a goal line stand.
Yeah.
Pretty close. I'm pretty like, the one thing we were worried about all year is the defensive line, the defensive tackle room is so small, and they're doing the things that we wanted them to do to win this football game. They're stopping the run. They were predominantly containing Caleb and getting, like, some pressure while he was inside the pocket, and then the offense just stopped functioning properly in the second half. So I legitimately do believe that.
And also, like, we lost Edgerrin Cooper midway in the second half.
Yeah, and that does impact even though Hopper came in, right?
No,
And
no,
then
no.
Hopper had that interception.
At some points, you had to play Neiman. Like, part of it, too, is in a situation where, and this comes down to the assistants, in the situation like that, I feel like it would be better to have someone like Evan Williams in over Neiman.
It's not like he can't tackle.
Mhm.
I mean, we know Evan Williams will come
Yeah.
downhill. So, like, I am willing to place some blame because you and I really criticized Jeff Halfley after the Broncos game. Like, I think that was probably his worst coach game on the defensive side of the ball.
It kind of just feels like some adjustments are lacking, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Also, like, those last couple drives, when they were in like desperation, were throwing the ball for sure. Why are we not dropping 8? Like let's drop 8. You haven't gotten to Caleb all that much, so why not just put the extra bodies into coverage and like force them either to throw it out of bounds or scramble, in which case one of your 2 very fast linebackers come downhill and tackle him. So
yeah, I don't know why they did that. I mean, maybe it was because, like, again, the moment Caleb Williams gets out of the pocket, I criticize Caleb Williams about certain things. And part of the reason why he threw 2 picks, like, oh, there was miscommunication or this person didn't run the wrong route. No, part of the reason why he threw those 2 interceptions was because of his difficulties when it comes to reading
defense.
sky
Most
safety.
of them did come on 4th down too.
Yeah, that one Valentine did.
The Hopper one, I think, was on 1st down too.
Was it on a 4th down?
I think so.
Well, some of his incompletions too, or just like him not reading the defense properly and him having to see guys open. Because the moment Caleb Williams is making some of these plays, I'm like, I know exactly who he's looking for. I know exactly where he's going to go for it, where he's going with it, because he's looking to see these guys open. And this isn't to say that Caleb Williams can't be special, because there are certain things he does special. Like, he's a very athletic, he's a massive arm, an incredible arm to be able to throw the football. And he gets out of sticky situations like better than any quarterback I've ever seen in my entire life. I've kind of started to think that he's like a modern Michael Vick, just with less run first mentality.
Yeah.
Because like just the way he plays the football game and how he reads the defenses is very Michael Vick-esque. It just, he's more pass first and he is run first. They kept him contained though the entire game. Like they did until the 4th quarter. Defense gets gassed. So I do think Jeff Hafley needs to look at certain things. I think Dugan isn't the greatest linebacker coach. You and I have talked about how it seems like Cooper regressed all year. I do think Quay regressed somewhat, and you lose arguably a top 5 linebacker coach in Cabadelli, who's doing amazing things in Jacksonville as the defensive coordinator there. That doesn't help at all whatsoever. We couldn't close the game. Special teams seems worse than it ever is, and that kind of does. We briefly talked about it before. It does bring us to the Matt LaFleur question. You know, you have this Super Bowl window. It's another 7th seed playoff loss or playoff collapse. And there are, the reoccurring issues have been penalties, which we had a lot of them, even though I don't necessarily think they impacted the game that much, all things considered. Special teams, which could be an organizational issue. It's an organizational philosophy, which we'll see what happens with the new president here, Ed Policy. The poor situational football, and then playing down to opponent. Like I feel like all 4 of those things have been relatively major factors of Matt LaFleur's time in Green Bay.
Yeah. Dude, the special teams woes have like plagued us since before LaFleur. But
yeah, that's why it's probably an organizational philosophy that needs
it's got to be at some point. Like, yes, the buck stops with the head coach, but assistants and coordinators are also extremely valuable. Like, you have, oh god,
Adam Stenovich.
Well, yes. Well, I'm just trying to find the most eloquent way to phrase this. The head coach can only do so much with players. Assistants and position coaches and coordinators spend more individual time with the players, teaching them, coaching them up. You'd like to see more development, and if that development isn't happening, then that indicates that the coach isn't the best fit, in my opinion.
I think it's no coincidence too that you saw development from specific rooms.
Yes.
You bring in DeMarcus Covington, who's had experience elsewhere. John Dunn, tight end coach, 2 years doing football stuff with another elsewhere. And I think the only fresh guy who came in and did well is Sean Mannion.
Yeah, but he played the position. He played the position at a high level. If you look at, credit to all of these people, they got to where they are. Was Sean Duggan a high-level linebacker? Was Ryan Downard a high-level defensive back? Are these guys, do they teach well because they have the background of playing at a high level? Or are they just, schematically, they know the position from just being taught it and learning? Did they learn from experience, or did they learn from reading about the position and watching a ton of film?
Yeah,
Like,
And like there are some
there
guys
is a
who
difference.
can teach it, 100%.
Like Jeff
100%.
Hafley,
There are some guys who just have
defensive back coach,
yes.
excellent teacher. To my understanding, did he play college football at a high level?
Jeff Hafley. That's a great question. I mean, I know Matt LaFleur played
Yeah, he played quarterback, which is.
but
And here's another question. You know how I'm gonna use Cincinnati as an example for this because I've seen it in Hard Knocks. Zach Taylor leads both. I mean, this is a horrible example. Holy crap! Like he leads the general team meeting. He then also leads the offensive meeting, as well as I think he sits in the quarterback meeting. How much does Matt LaFleur and Adam Stenovich trade off there? Matt LaFleur would lead the whole team meeting. Does Steno lead the offensive meeting? Like, it's who's doing who here. And if we have to ask what the offensive coordinator is doing, does that mean he is a good offensive coordinator? Like, what's our indicator there? We've seen what he calls in the preseason, and I, for one, don't really love it.
Here's my kind of food for thought, okay, in terms of when you're looking at these coaches and whether or not they're good. The first thing is the league gave Adam Stenovich interviews last year for head coaching positions. I think he even got like an offensive coordinator interview. That was enough for them. That was all they needed. Mum's the word this year on even a head coaching position offer interview. It's all been about Jeff Hafley. Nobody in the league wants Adam Stenovich to lead their football team. That's the reality of it.
I heard you got buzzed for Penn State.
Well, he can go do that, even though they hired somebody else. But here's my point. Are teams picking apart your roster? Are teams trying to steal your coaches? No. If the answer is no, then guess what? Other teams are trying to hurt you by making sure you keep your coaches. That is the reality of the Packers assistant coaching room. Other teams don't care to pick apart our assistant coaches because they're not any good, and they know that. And they want the Packers to keep them there because they're not any good.
And like you've almost kind of seen that live as soon as a coordinator got hired away.
Yeah.
Hackett unfortunately flamed out in where did he get hired to? Was it
Nathaniel Hackett
Denver?
Went to the Denver, didn't work out there.
Went to
Jets offensive coordinator.
With Rodgers, didn't really work out.
Getsy went to two places, Bears and Raiders. Didn't work out at all whatsoever. Like these offensive coordinators just aren't working as well as you'd like them to. And if that is the case, then these guys probably shouldn't be in your room. And I do think it's interesting too. Like I said, Covington, 6 years of different experience. Derek Ainsley, 6 years of different experience. The only kind of exception to the rule here is obviously Rich Bisaccia, who has 20 years of experience, but I think he's a product of an older time and he just hasn't adapted to the rules.
I don't think, I would agree with you for sure there. He hasn't kept up with.
He has too much experience.
And he feels like the type of guy who's stubborn and set in his ways.
Like our running backs coach, I think is excellent. Ben Siermans, 4 years of experience elsewhere. Our tight end coach, like I mentioned that earlier, John Dunn, 2 years of experience elsewhere. Jeff Hafley, 6 years of experience elsewhere. Right now you have, let's see here, you have linebackers coach Sean Duggan, 0 experience elsewhere. Defensive back coach Ryan Downard, 0 experience elsewhere. Sean Mannion's, again, probably one of the few exceptions. Like you can find them. They do exist. Jason Vrabel, passing game coordinator, no experience elsewhere. Adam Stenovich, 0 experience elsewhere. Ryan Mahaffey, 0 experience elsewhere.
Okay.
Luke Butkus, 0 experience elsewhere.
Vrabel hasn't been the worst.
Vrabel's the passing game coordinator.
That's the one thing that's worked all consistently all season.
Has it though? To a degree, it's been inconsistent at times. Like realistically, if you think about it, because there are games where you scored 10 points.
Yeah.
And then how they decided to use Matthew Golden.
That should be a fireable offense for everybody on offense. Like that.
That's my point. Yeah. Like how they use Matthew Golden. And to go a step further than that too, the whole Jordan Morgan saga with Steno and that. Like, what? What are you doing? And I originally thought too, okay, maybe Golden was running the wrong routes or something like that. Well, if that is the case, I got news for you. That's on your wide receivers coach. That's on your passing game coordinator. That's on your offensive coordinator, Adam Stenovich. And some of it is on Golden because he needs to get stuff down, 100%. I'm not denying that. But that is on people who you stick around him to help a young guy up. And these coaches just aren't doing that. There's no reason for these coaches to be here. At this point. Because if nobody's interviewing you for a position on another team, that tells me that you're not good enough to be the coach on my team.
We'll talk about this all again later. We don't want to spoil everything.
die on this.
We
hill.
will die on this hill probably.
I mean, they do have a lot of questions. It's such a disappointing loss because the first half of the Bears game,
It was
just
like
opened up.
tale of two different teams on offense almost.
Yeah.
And this is where
Yeah.
how we have these conversations about coaches and coordinators, because how can it all like fall apart like that if the staff is lacking in some way?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you
Yeah.
can blame injuries till the
It's-
cows come home, but that only goes so far.
It really does. And like because ultimately too, the coaching details matter. And everybody wants to say the NFL is a player-run league, and I get that to a point. Like ultimately, players have to go out there and they do have to execute, but coaches have to give you the details to execute and put you in the best position possible. And there are coaches on this team that just aren't doing that. I do think we should have it's going to be interesting to see what the personnel is going to look like moving forward.
Yeah, like you said earlier, coming Wednesday, if Matt LaFleur stays, then I would expect to see a lot of coaching changes.
Mm-hmm.
If Matt LaFleur leaves, there will definitely be a lot of coaching changes, but it'll be because someone's bringing in a new staff. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not Matt LaFleur self-scouts and recognizes that these are the weaknesses, and then this is what we're going to do to fix that. And I think this season that could also be kind of like the critique on Halfley, is the self-scout portion kind of failed. And yes, you can only do so much with the roster that you're given, and some of the responsibilities of that fall on Goody because we're not blind. We could all see what that cornerback room was going to be coming into the year. And
it was bad. Mm-hmm.
You don't try to cover that up as best you can. Also, as soon as Micah went down, the defensive line philosophy never really changed. So
yeah, it was tough.
It was I was almost just begging for a stunt or twist along that defensive line, something to create disruption.
I do think that is an episode. A lot of this stuff, I do think it's going to be a reflection of the roster and coaching staff. I think Wednesday the Packers fans in general will definitely get a lot more information on Wednesday, or I should say the day this episode comes out, which is Wednesday, so today, in that instance, as to where the Packers are going. Overall, I am disappointed. In spite of the injuries, I'm disappointed at how this season ended, and it's kind of bummed. It is. I'm always bummed when Packers football ends.
No, for sure. I'm disappointed. I think I'd say the whole fan base is disappointed because look at how the team was viewed coming into the season, compared to where we are now.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a lot to talk about. I mean, adjustments, personnel questions. I mean, where the Packers go from here, because there's a lot of guys who are free agents. There are. And I like talking about draft stuff, too. I'm just sad right now.
So do I.
But, I mean, with that, the 2025 NFL season comes to a close for the Green Bay Packers. That's all, folks. It's draft time.
To Packers fans coast to coast, thanks for going beyond the frozen tundra. We appreciate you tuning in. And as always, go Pack Go!